welcome to She Speaks, e leng show ya basadi mo e leng hore ra kopana kaofela re le basadi re bua ka di experiences tse re bang le tsona mo lefatsheng tse ka basadi hoba di challenge di ngata tse leng hore re faitsana le tsona re le basadi. Today re tlotla re bua ka tsona ntho tseo, and then re tlotla re bua le ausi e leng hore o tlile mona nang show ya rona. Nna le bitso la ka ke nna Motshedisi Matjatje, ke nna host ya lona. We are going to speak to Lerato, who left her 8-to-5 job to start her own business. Welcome, Lerato.
Thank you so much for inviting me today.
How are you?
Hi, it's the busyness, but
Yes.
I'm in the midst of beauty.
Okay.
Thank you for inviting me in your beautiful home, in your beautiful studio. I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. This
Yeah.
is my first show. I'm so happy, Lerato, to have you in my show.
Sure.
Yes.
I'm honored as well to be invited. Go show Yapili, the very first show. How She Speaks.
Okay, Lerato, can you please tell me about yourself? Who is Lerato?
Sure. So Lerato e re le nna ke ipitse jwalo he.
Yes,
Wa bona?
yes.
So Lerato is a young woman.
Yes.
She's a mother, she's a wife, she's a daughter, she's a
Yes.
sister. She's an employer.
Yes.
Right. I'm a young woman o ileng hore I am very passionate about business. Not only business, I'm passionate about batho ba basadi.
Eh.
Ba ikemele.
Eh.
That's my passion. That's the person that I am.
Yes.
I call myself the sales lady.
Yes.
Because I'll tell you a bit more about why I call myself the sales lady, but it's derived from tabaya business ideally.
Yes.
Yeah.
So khwebe ya being an entrepreneur ke ntho e leng hore ke gala o e batla or e tlile jwang?
Sure. Let me maybe take it back to where it actually started.
Yes.
I remember ha ke tswa sekolong, which is high school.
Yes.
Ke kena university, ke kena college. It was not university, it was college.
Yes.
And I studied advertising.
Yes.
But even when I was studying advertising, because in advertising, they basically teach you how to put businesses out there.
Yes.
So I would always sit with my friends and say, "Hey man, a re batleng tsela ya ho etsa tjhelete man.
Yes.
Ha le bone ntho tse ba re teachang tsona ko sekolong.
Phethebetse.
Re di nke re ro di pitchetsa other businesses ntse re le sekolong whilst we were still studying."
Yes.
So that is where it actually started.
Yes.
Through what I studied.
Yes.
But the passion ya thing happy would lie in the fact ya hore the foundation was bigger. My mother is someone who ileng hore o believer hore ha o le motho o tlameya o ikemela. So in a sense ya hore foundation a re fileng yona ke hore ha dumele motho o sa sebetseng ka tlung. Lanzo kena school, you have to find a way
Ya ho etsa
to
tjhelete.
make money. You must
Yes.
go out, you must sell something, you must do promotions, you must do what. So I've always been that person who ileng hore I must go out and start work. So that's where it actually started, where I got ignited by learning how to grow and put businesses out there. And then the passion grew. Actually, I think I would like to start running my own business.
Yes.
And I didn't just start by running my own business.
Yes.
And I started working jobs, normal jobs, student jobs. I was a waitress sometime in my life. I was a promotions person sometime in my life. But I guess my first real job, I worked for a courier company, a big international courier company. And in that space, nesekifeditse school.
Yeah.
So immediately after school, I couldn't get work for what I studied for at the
Yes.
time. So because I stay in a home, how do you lose
need to work.
even if it
Yes.
means you will go up and sell vegetables, you do
You
that,
do
right?
something.
And at the time, Neribona a bit harsh, but I thank my mother for such lessons. Sahore, you have to know hore, how only adult you must try and make money whichever way, right? So I had to take the next job available, and at the time it was a very good job where I was a customer care agent for a courier service. But my passion is that
Your
side.
passion is on sales.
Yeah,
Yes.
100%. My
It's
passion
on
was
sales,
on the
yes.
business, was on the advertising. And I worked there for around a year or so. And this is around 20 years ago. 19 years ago, I'm working this job. I'm very young. I'm very tiny, right? And I'm earning a lot of money. At the time, I was earning, I think it was around 9,000, 8,000.
Yes.
It was a lot of money. Oh, Sidi, I cannot wanna.
Yes, it was a lot of
I
money.
don't have a child. I
Yes,
cannot.
you're
So
not
ke
paying
child
any
thing
rent.
ata. Ha ke fitla ke fa nkgono ke mfa mama tšhelete that ne ke sebeletsa ntho tseo. And because I believe in building relationships.
Yes.
I built a very strong relationship with a colleague of mine.
Yes.
O ileng hore monna hae o na sebeletsa top billing. I can see before about top billing.
Yes, I do.
Yes. So monna hae e ne ile camera operator ko top billing, and they knew me ko mosebetsing ha nka ba bolella ka media. Ke feditsa nka re yo camera, hey, media, business and all of that. They knew that was my passion.
Yes.
So she said, Lerato man, my husband are hona le motho o batlang an employee. So you will go and work there, and then but samo bali interview le na o mo bona.
Yes.
I got there and I worked for a gentleman called Andile Masuku.
Yes.
Andile was a media personality. Una shooter a show called Fix My Biz in Ehlako SABC. Go ETV.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with his show, what he did was he used to go to different businesses. So he'd come into a different business and he would find strategies and ways on how they fix that business.
Yes.
So if a business is not making money, they come with camera, with crew to help fix the business in that
Yeah,
space.
so that it
So Andile says, Lerato, you know what? You can work here for me. And you must know hore you are going to be the only employee. So it's just me and him and a
Yes.
business partner he had. But you must know I can't afford the amount of money that you say you are earning.
You are
Me,
earning.
you can come here 3 times a week, but I'll only pay you 2,000 rands.
Yes.
Right? And I'm like, okay, 2,000
1,000
rands.
to 200 to
Kare, no
2,000.
man. I sat down and I thought about it. Kare, flip it. I'm taking the job. I'm resigning that site. Hey,
You're
mama,
resigning
kani
that-
kara kalare ore o etsang ke re, mama.
8,000 salary.
I
You're
am
going to 2,000.
leaving that job. I'm gonna go work for that guy because now in my mind I'm thinking I'm going to learn so much. I'm now entering the media industry in one
Yes.
because it's hard to find work.
So on your side, you were just there to learn more.
100%.
About the industry. You didn't care about the salary.
Absolutely OCD because
Okay.
now my mind was on the future.
Yes.
My mind was not on the present. I was on the fact that actually I'm going to get experience one from
Yes.
Andile. Number 2, this guy is already even shooting a show yadi business. I'm going to learn about business things.
Exactly.
So I'm like, I'm leaving it. 3 days is fine.
Yes.
So I leave my job, I resign, same time, I start working for Andile on the Monday. He had offices in Sentin, so I go to work 3 times a week.
Yes.
But ubone hore when you affirm and when you say things with your mouth, they happen. Because I
Yes.
told myself, I'm not going to struggle. 2,000 rand, it's enough
enough
for me. As
Remember
long as if
that money you're
kinale.
giving to your family as well. So it's enough for
Absolutely,
you.
absolutely OCD. So
Yeah.
in me, I said, I'm just going to take this money, and through the money, I'm just going to use it for transport. That's it.
Yes.
As long as if can transport it,
You're
it's like you
good.
want to contribute go high so that they can have food. I'm okay. Me, I'm getting way more
Yes.
from Andile and his job. And I worked for him for probably a month or 2. And then unaliko a space which we call a serviced office. So when you are at a serviced office, kore he doesn't have offices that are his.
Yes.
Kore in an office space, sesoholo, he rented a small room.
All right.
So what was good was when I work, I give it my all. And I make sure hore I climb the wall. If there's opportunity, I'm entering and I grab the opportunity. And the owner of the serviced office said, Man Lerato, you are always here. You are here 3 days. Let me speak to Andile and we make it 1 week. And me, I'll pay 3,000.
Oh, wow.
Right? So it means that I'm coming to the same space, but now what you're going to do is you will manage the entrepreneurs that own the
Yes.
spaces here. You'll make
Yes.
sure hore ba patala rente ba etsa eng, and then you will do a
Yeah,
bit of
you're the
selling.
caretaker.
And I'm like, that's
Yeah.
fine, I'll do that for you. Then that's when my salary started climbing slightly up.
Yes.
And through the job, Andile, I was getting paid 2,000 rands, but I promise you, it felt like I was getting paid 1 million
Because
of the lessons. And I'll say my
Yeah.
foundation comes from that space where in that foundation, I learned how to run a business.
Yes.
One, I learned how to rub shoulders with the who's of the media space, right? People by eleng hore I could never dream of being in the same space as them. But Andile entrusted me so much, and he said, you know what? Ha ke ya Cape Town go shoot.
When are you going
Salary
to
company
yes.
yaka.
Yes.
And I would stay with his company. Are ha ke tsamaile ke ya business account ya company. Make sure the rent is paid. Make sure the water is paid. Make sure the employees are paid, because we started even hiring people, right? So that's how I started learning how to run a business.
Literally, you're running that company.
100%. And in that was where my university, my actual learning was going through, and the passion here of running the business. So the money in a is nothing, right? But what I got was way more than what a salary would have given me. If I'd stayed there, get 8,000, I would have never gotten what I was getting from Andile at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So leaving this 8 to 5 permanent job, were you not scared
Sure.
that you are losing your permanent salary?
OCD, I
Starting
was.
a new business which you don't even know is going to be successful or not.
OCD, I was scared initially. That was the first part, ne? So Haneki to the business world, because moving forward from the Andile's job, I then later on went on and I met 3 other people. Bailung Hore. In those 3 other people, that was when we started my first business, my first
Your
official
first
business.
Yeah, on your first business. Yeah.
I was still there at Andile. And remember, I'm now meeting a lot of entrepreneurs, and Andile is always talking about me. So someone approached me and Andile and said, you know what, I'm starting a magazine. But before I go there, when I was young, I think I was maybe 15, 16, I wrote somewhere, because I was writing my dreams. I said, one of my dream was I would like to own
My
own magazine.
Yes.
I didn't know how, I didn't know much, but I wrote it there.
Yes.
Here comes this man now that approaches Andile and me and says, nah, I'm starting a business magazine. And in this magazine, I would like Lerato to come and head the whole operations, where she will be the operations manager, because I can see the work that she does here. She speaks to me, she says, I see your work. Please, man, I'll offer you this much salary.
Yes.
And at the time, yes, the salary meant a lot. But OCD, if I can tell you, Hore, I still carried those lessons. Man, there's a fast forward to my life now. I prayed somewhere there about a magazine. As much as I love Andile and the company,
I need to start my own.
I need to. I was still going to be an employee, but now I was going to be the operations manager of this specific magazine.
Yes.
Where this person was starting it from the ground, and I said, I don't know nothing about starting a magazine,
Yes.
but it's part of my plans and my dreams. Maybe God is bringing this to me because I asked for it.
Yes.
So OCD Gadula he kasebeletsa this gentleman. I worked for him for around 3-4 months. After 3-4 months, he later came back and said, well, things went bad for him because he had an investor, and then things didn't go well financially for him.
Yes.
The company was going down under.
Yes.
And then he came back and he said, Lerato, you know what? There's no way you can be my employee.
Yes.
Can we do this? Can we be shareholders? Yes, in this business. And I sat down and I said, of course, how can I say no? We got 2 other people and we restructured everything. It was the 4 of us, and we started a business magazine called the Black Business Journal. Rene Ribiza BBJSA.
Yes.
We started the magazine and we ran with the magazine. Remember now, when I was working, there was a salary.
Yes.
Now that I'm starting the business magazine with him, there's no more salary. It means the money that must pay me must go into building the business. So I was the youngest of the lot. The gentleman is late now. His name was Sipho Mbikwana. Sipho was around at the time. He was in his late 40s. I had another partner, Nomhle. She was in her late 30s. I had Kolani. Kolani was in his early 30s.
Yes.
And then it's me in my early 20s, 21, 22. I was very young. But my age did not intimidate me at all, OCD. And I had to sit down and remember, Kamole Kamohai, there's that pressure of saying when you work, you must provide as well. You must give us money at home. we've got the black tax that we call it black tax, isn't it? But I don't like to call it black tax. I call it my responsibility somewhat to take care of the parents, right? So now we started doing that. We started running the business. There was no income for the first year.
How did you manage financially to start this business? Because you need to have capital to start that.
To start the business, we needed to have capital. So because we were business partners in Relief 4, and I saved up a bit. Nomhle saved up a bit. Kolani saved up a bit. Same as Sipo saved up a bit. He had mine. So that was sufficient for us to get started and have our first batch of offices.
Okay.
And because it is publishing, publishing is a magazine. The magazine was going to be printed. It was a print magazine. So with staff members such as journalists, we could outsource, or they do the work that's called freelance work.
All right.
So the journalists, what they do, Nibasa sebetsi full time for our magazine. So we would have an editorial meeting once a month, and we'd say, this month magazine ya rona e tlo bua about this thing. So they will come and they will write articles, and then they will then do what? They will then invoice us month end. So they get paid 30 days after the publication is sent out. So it gives us sufficient time to be able to build up capital. Because first things first is that when you've got business partners, you've got 4 different minds. That's the nice part. You've got the one that has the mind of building. You've got one that has the mind of being the visionary. The other one had the mind of making money. How do we make money? How do we sell adverts? Number 4, I'm going back to the relationships. Our magazine survived on relationships, OCD. And I'll say that this is one of the principles I utilize even till today in running businesses. When you build solid relationships, even after a while, they'll still be there to help you out. So we operated our business on what we call trade exchange. So how we did this, we wanted to print. Publishing is a very expensive industry to operate in. Ka kgwedi OCD ho printer dibuka tsene re di printer ne re costa over 300,000.
Wow, it was a lot.
That is a monthly run ya di magazine tsa rona, and it was back then. So OCD wabana, when we also said re qala that business, there was nothing in it to stop. Even the money part to run the magazine or publishing is so expensive. It's hence you will see a lot of businesses failing in that space, because who printer, even the type of book that you would print, the type of magazine that you would print costs a lot of money. But in us, we did one thing. We said, "Lanse resena funding, lanse resena whatever. Mushito zwela big. Let's sit down and actually find a sales model." You must know what a business ya how it is a chelete jwa. And then we implement those things initially. Got the first part. So a lot of entrepreneurs le di mistake tse ba di etsang kore ba qala di businesses ba sa tsebo re business e tlo kenya chelete jwang. Koro qala e ba emela hore mohlomong ke tla thola funding somewhere. So with us, it was not about the funding, but it was about us saying, okay, ke ye magazine ya rona hore re kgone ho etsa chelete e so. It means re tlameya ho rekisa di advert tse ikae ka kgwedi tse tlo kgonang ho cover up ho patala certain costs tse re nang le tsona. That was when we also got creative, or how do we then minimize the cost it's eating. OCD, when you are running a business, o hloka chelete. Chelete o hlokela o patala dintho tsa o rana the actual business, right? So radula fatshe ra re, how do we eliminate the cost ya who rana and who operate the space? So in the space we will do dintho tse bitswang di trade exchanges. Mo ileng hore we approach business people wa bona chelete o sidike ntho ileng hore we hloka hona yanong to buy petrol, to do whatever, but hantlantle chelete kgwebong we batlela ho rana the business. And normally o rana the business ka ho thola di services from other businesses. So we sat down and we said, rena le eng e re ka efang other companies in exchange for what we need. Re batla o print cost ya rona cost currently 300,000. How do we ke feng service rona re ka e fang the printing company.
Yes.
Bone be ba re fa ele. That's
Yes,
how
it's a
we
barter
it's a
system sort of,
barter
yes.
100% OCD. So ra
Yes.
sebedisa a lot of bartering
Yes.
system in the magazine, where we would give advertising to different companies, and then they would give us the services, and then bona gore tšhelete e le ne re tlo ba fa yona mohlomong ne ba tla patala adverts somewhere.
Yes.
But instead rather ka tšhelete o the two services di etsagale.
Yes.
So we ran with the bartering system for a while.
Yes.
But with that being said, happy we had a very strong sales force in e etswa e etsang e rekisa di advert tsa
Yes.
teng. So that's how we ran with the company.
So le gana kgwebo le le 4, and then le kgwebong e ya lona ene le gana le le 4, di challenges tse le bileng le tsona ke di feng in terms of you managing the business?
Sure. OCD, there's a lot of challenges. So
Yes.
remember, it's the 4 of us,
Yes.
and we are equal
Yes.
shareholders. That's another thing that I would like our viewers to learn.
To learn, yes.
I want them to learn when you are entering into a partnership,
Yes.
you must be very certain about
Yes.
what the partnership entails.
Yes.
Even paperwork ya lona has to be done. I get normally rates ka excitement.
Yes.
And to be quite honest, Rona, when we started ka excitement, there was not even a shareholders agreement
contract,
in
no
place.
nothing, yes.
So you look into a shareholders agreement, e leng
Yes.
hore it has to specify hore ha re le di-partners in the space, ha ke
Yes.
batla o tswa ke tswa jwang,
Yes.
ke rekisa di-shares ke etsa jwang, ha ke batla o etsa so ke etsa jwang. So those things were not done. We just said ka molomo really for okay guys, ke business ya rona, ke business magazine e le hore akere initially it was the Gauteng Business Journal e ne e ownwa ke Sipho.
Yes.
Then Sipho's business went down, and he said, guys, because Nomhle Kolani and me, we were employees.
Yes.
But as per hierarchy, ya ko mosebetsing as employees, it was Sipho as the owner, and then in Na, I was the operations director, but
Yes.
kile a non-shareholding director, so ke batshwere. And then there's Nomhle, then there's Kolani, they were in executive leadership.
Yes.
So Sipho says, come on board, Lily 4, with different skills, but let's make it fair. Everyone will be an equal shareholder. We become equal shareholders,
Yes.
really 4. So each person gets 25% each.
Yes.
But in that space, Sipho remains as the chairperson.
Yes.
Because remember, he's the most skilled of us.
Yes.
Una le skill se se ngata sa ho rana the magazine. So
Yes.
meaning that e ba e ka re ke yena boss ya rona Sipho.
But you are still getting equal shares.
We are equal shareholders. It's
Okay.
just that the operational
The
side
operational
of
side.
running the business,
Yes.
it has to have a hierarchy. Otherwise,
Okay.
how in a hierarchy, in a order. Re tlo lwantshana
Yes,
haholo.
yes, that's true.
So Sipho became the as chairperson of the
Yes.
company. Utlaka wealth, maybe 30 plus, 40 plus years of experience. Yeah,
Yes,
publishing.
And he was fair to you guys.
Right?
He was so.
very fair.
was
He was,
fair.
may his soul rest in
Yes.
peace. Number 2, Nomhle, she was very executive in stature, and get the time ho kena haholo ntho tsa di BEE tsa basadi.
Yes.
We sat down re actually CEO ya rona ha ebe Nomhle.
Yes.
Because we are salespeople and we are very strategic. Nomhle unana le a business persona. Like
Yes.
Enamo, you will feel because wapere di suit, very presentable, well spoken, and she studied BCom finance. So in terms of the financial aspect, she was very good. So we say Nomhle itloba the CEO because Lena unale a wealth of business
Yes.
experience.
Yes.
And then I remained as the operations director here because in na I can coordinate ke khona kopanya ele ke khona ho nahana this and
Yes.
that. And then Kolani was then the advertising director.
Yes.
Kore ke yena o tlameha ho tlisa tjhelete in the
Yes, he was
company.
into sales,
So
yes.
we then gave each other the roles and responsibilities. And I don't want to lie, OCD, re sebedisitse hantle. We were respectful towards each other. Ha ne re sebetsa re le four.
Yes.
Very much so, like we knew the chairperson. As much as we are shareholders, we knew the
Yes,
chairperson.
yes.
We knew Nomhle ke CEO. Ha Nomhle, right, guys, are mole. Mole it's a
Yes.
bad deal. Ha re
Because she
nke
had
re sebedisa.
she did that. Ke ntho a
Ke ntho a e
entseng.
entseng. So we carried that through and we were respectful towards that. The challenges now came in when there was money. Tshwana le lenyalong. I get it's an agreement. So ha ne re sena tšhelete he ho no le
Things were going
monate.
smooth.
Ai ho no le monate when we were still re kopanya re na ne re yo tšhelete ya rente this month re
Where are we
etsa
going to
jwang.
get it? Yes.
O nno mtla ra imane hona le bokana kana ke tlo bitsa motho so a etse so ho patale ho ne ho le monate.
Yes.
The big challenges OCD came in when we were eventually approved
Yes.
for funding. We got funding. I don't want to name or mention amounts.
Yes.
And when we got funding, one of our business partners got very greedy.
Yes. Oh, that's
Very greedy to an extent where SIPO decided to go back home
Wow,
to the
that
Eastern
was
Cape.
bad,
Ba re
yo,
Lerato
that
e re
was
ke
bad,
Eastern Cape ke
yo.
tsamaye ke le sia le company.
Yo.
Ra sala re le three. The three of us here we
So
are.
he sold the shares to you or what? What did
No,
he
no,
do?
no. He voluntarily
Left
left,
the company.
and he was
Okay.
still a shareholder. This is where I'm coming in. So it's important also hore ha o tlo kenya into a business partnership o document clearly hore la tšhelete e fihla.
Yes.
How do we now split the money? The
Yes.
agreement was done properly, fast
Yes.
ka pelenyana.
Yes.
Azang rabale the right type of strategies and processes and conversations.
Yes.
So ho kgolwa jwang tšhelete e kena kae?
Yes.
But those are some of the lessons tse leng hore we learned to say that how can I in a business partnership you must make sure hore it's like entering a marriage.
Yes.
You have a contract. How can I lenyalong le monna hao le dula fatshe la buisana hore
Yes.
re tlo etsa eng jwang re tlo etsa tšhelete re e sebedisa jwang. It
Yes.
must be properly documented. Business partnership in a lot of advantages, but
That's
it also
true.
have a disadvantage. Haile hore you never communicated or spoke about those things. So
Yes.
we learned those things and things were bad. Ha se tšhelete e kena o mong wa rona o ile a ba baleya ka ditšhelete
Oh, that
a
was
matiswa
bad.
ka di-court and so forth.
Yes.
But it's the beauty of business. We learn
Yes.
to implement in future.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first customer that you got, how did you get your first customer? Because most entrepreneurs are struggling to get clients.
Okay, so that was one of the biggest, biggest, ke lahlehelwa ke mantswe, but it was the ke lahlehelwa ke lentswe la Sesotho or la Sekgowa ke re ra bua bua,
Yes,
wa bona?
yes.
But ke tla re ntho ene e re driver as a business was to go out and approach. So ha o rana kgwebo ha wa tlameha o tshabe o approach batho
Yes.
ba bang. Ha wa tlameha o tshabe ho approach dikgwebo tse ranang di
Yes.
businesses tse ding. Ha o bona hore here's a business, even if it means that day o tlameha o apara diteki wena o sa apara di high heel o be madam.
Yes.
O tlameha hore o kene mole and get your hands dirty and be the salesperson.
Yes.
Go out there o rekisa kgwebo ya hao. So we had to approach people. We knocked on so many doors up until we got the first client e leng hore o shebile the groundwork and the background work in re etsa.
Okay. And the challenges you had as a businesswoman, as a woman as a whole, you being a businesswoman, which challenges did you experience? Because most ya banna ba re nkela fatshe tjeka basadi re ikemela. Di challenges tšo bilane tsona ke difeng?
OCD, there's so many challenges for women in business. Challenge number one, remember it's still there where mosadi o tlameha ho ba kitchening. Kapa ha ile hore wa sebetsa, you must work a receptionist job or a specific type of job. And you find that in the businesses that you would want business from, o thola ile banna ba bangata.
Yes.
Ba ileng hore monna ha bona motho wa mosadi, the first thing first o nahana hore ke tlo mo freya. I'm going to ask her out.
Oh,
I'm going to
that's
do
bad.
this and that hore in order for her to get XYZ.
Yes,
o
she
tlameha
needs
ho
to
mpa
do
di-phone
something.
number, a etse
Yes,
ntho tse
yes,
so.
yeah.
So those are some
Connect.
of the challenges tse o di facing as a woman in leadership.
Yes.
O face hape le di-challenges tse ka tlung even. Tse ileng hore le ka tlung you still need to be a wife. You must take off the hat ya ko mosebetsing. You must still
Yes.
be a wife la o fitla ka tlung. O
Yes,
utlwisisa? Ke
yes.
di-challenges tse ileng hore you must have a strong value system.
Yes.
O need ho tseba hore o tswa kae le hore o ya kae.
Okay.
O need ho tseba hore there's no shortcut in
Yes.
business, because la ile hore o nka the shortcut ya o kopana le abuti o le ka tsela tse sa kopaneng le business, it will come up to you in future.
Yes.
So you must be very strong. You must know what you want, and you must know hore there is no shortcut ha e tla kgwebong.
Okay, so how do you balance your company and your personal life?
Oh, that's I'm still trying to find the balance, even hona yanong, and I'm so blessed to have a family that is so understanding. I'm blessed to be married to an entrepreneur as well.
Wow, that's great.
Wa understand na ha 9 p.m. ke tlameha o kena calling ya mosebetsi. He understands, or it's for work. He understands, or I must sometimes on Saturdays be at work. Even my children, I found a way to include my family in
so
what I do.
So that they understand.
Absolutely. Saturday, I make it fun for them to come with me to the office, because
but understand
but balancing is very important. I'm still trying to find it, because if it's actually balance, then definitely you are not going to succeed.
You are not going to succeed.
So forth. So I'm forced to include my family in the spaces, but again I also need to be in a position again. I must take time out. It's important.
So wa balance nyana mo.
Yeah, but hanyane you must balance, especially na he ntate ka tlunguna lo re kwala laptop, no more laptops, 100% o sidi re na le melao ya hore 8 minutes I hire 8 o'clock 8 p.m. ho kwala laptop ho kwala
family
ra robala unless hona le something urgent.
Okay, o bile le mentor mohlomong motho o bontshitseng hore ka gona o etsa so hore ho be so ho tlile jwang hore o start go bena nang e o fihle mo leng ya
OCD di mentor tsaka, you'd be surprised. I can mentor ileng hore ke bua le ena ke re wena o mentor yaka. Everyone can be my mentor. Everyone. Kore hanga bona fela mosadi o etsa ntwe ke ratang. Ke starta ke mo latella social media, ke starta ke latellana le bophelo ba hae, because ke feel ka re ntho tsa di buang ke ntho tse nghodisang. Go tshwana le motho o simple o tshwanang le mme wa ka, motho o tshwanang le a sister, a brother, even at the office. Ha ke kena officing, someone that is even beneath me, but all so good at what they do. I learn. Na kelelwa ka phela e butsi mahlo mo ileng hore I find mentors and lessons from anyone and everyone. But ha ile hore ke a bona hore wena o tseleng ke e batlang ke tlo o latella ko latelle. And there was even a time I'm going to start doing it again, where once a month I would take someone out for lunch, someone who feeling hore o tseleng e right, and spend just an hour with that person.
You're going to learn a lot from that person.
Absolutely, OCD, absolutely.
And then just to wrap up ne o ka advise batho be leng go ba batla go kena khobong e yo leng ho yona jang, or motho a batlang go start a business ya hae, ke steps e feng sa tshwantseng a se latele hore le yena a be successful mo khobong?
Okay, sure, that's a beautiful question, OCD. One, I know all of us, we are always thinking of starting our own businesses, but it's very important for you to know your why. Why are you starting a business? One. Number two, how it is a solution, it's a thing. You must build a business a solution. Number three, if no one is there to give you money, how is the business going to make money? So it's very important to plan before you start. Plan as much as you can, learn as much as you can. How employed? Learn, save money, start the business whilst you are still employed. We can never underestimate the power of employment. How employed o sebetsa o le mosebeletsi o re o batla o qala kgwebo, nka tšhelete ele e leng gore wa ikgola. Make a budget. O fund business ya hao. Okay, so go fund business ya ka ha ile re ke khola 5,000 rand. Ke tlo itima ntho tse ngata ke nke 2,000 rand ke ya business. Every month I am saving, I give my all. Ha ke fitla ka mole ke a tseba ha ke sa robala ka 8 ko robala ka 12 because 4 hours ele ke ya hore ke khone ho build a khwebo ele e ke mo build. Only when you are solid and stable ibile o bona re sentse o thola di client, that's when you can think of leaving your job. Don't just up and leave and say ke tlwella mosebetsi. No,
it's going to be difficult. So batlang o se etsa
I agree. You
Okay.
have to make sure hore o na le plan. Eo batlang ho e etsa, but not only the plan, but you are already implementing the plan already. La ile hore we rana for 1 year, 2 years, kore batho ba tlameha ho ithuta patience. Ke yona kore o tlameha ho ithuta ho mamella. Ha o sena patience, you are not going to survive business.
Okay. Looking back at your journey, what is it that would change? Maybe o ka e tjhentjhang from ko tswang teng?
Absolutely nothing. Nothing. Bophelo ba ka the way bo leng ka teng. The challenges hoa nako tsa bo di COVID re wele ra phama hape ho sabe le tšhelete ho etsa eng. All of those things were important situations tse ileng hore di shape the person that I am. Ha ona le e one o sidi enka e change.
Akere.
Not even one.
So basadi ha ba tshwanela ho tshaba ho qala dikgwebo tsa dikgwebo ho tshosa ba bang ba tshaba ba re be ha re qala re tla ba successful or tšhelete ka e tla ya ebe ile ntho tse jwalo
o tlameha ho ba le tshepo wa bona. That's why ke tshwere ha o starta business we starta ka faith, we starta o tseba hore modimo o file kore o sa starta kgwebo ka hobane ke bona mogotsi wa ka o qadile kgwebo ya ntwe so le nna ke a iqala o qala kgwebo o tseba hantle hore mo kgwebong e ke iqadileng ke a tseba e tlo succeed, e tshwanetse kore there is no room for failure. And if it means that I get my hands dirty, if it means le teng hona le mo ke failang, it's a lesson. I need to pick myself up and put the lessons about and then move forward. Hayo motho o fitlang successing azang o sidi awa a pheta phahama o tlowa wa phahama hape o phahame, but your character is the one that will make you succeed in business.
That's true. Ke nnete me o buile ona mantswe a monate ho basadi kaofela ba kantle be leng hore ba lakatsa hore maybe le bona ba ka starta dikgwebo tsa bona. Ntho ya pele ko starta hore o ye sekolong o lo ithuta seo o batlang ho se etsa. Kgwebong ya hao tshwantse o ithuta ho ba an entrepreneur, o ithute lo saver, because kgwebo e batla motho a tsebang ka kgwebo, motho a tsebang le hore na tšhelete o tlo e sebedisa jwang. Okay, Lerato, thank you for sharing your journey with us. Till we meet again next time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Story sa hao se re bontshitse hore ka courage le determination le hard work can lead to a successful business. So ha re ka etsa jwalo, to all our viewers, ha o rata ha o batla o starta kgwebo ya hao, take the first step, which is saving and going to school, being an entrepreneur. Ka ho ya sekolong o tseba hore na kgwebo ya hao o tlo tla o itsamaisa jwang. Till we meet again on She Speaks, and then re tla kopana hape re tlo tla re bua ka tse bohlokwa tse leng hore re kopana le tsona re le basadi. Ke re tsalang pele le nne le lore hantle, keep on dreaming, keep on believing, and keep going. I love you all. Bye.